Hello ladies and welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden and today it is snowing out a little bit and my car, the Integra, hates the snow. It does not like the cold at all. I think it has a bad thermostat, and the brakes are pretty bad, so I gotta be careful for sure. I gotta be careful today. But either way, today we're gonna be going over the Noob's car guide on JDM cars. I got count them, 6 things I want to go over about JDM cars. And I want to explain to you guys, you know, why do you, I want to explain to you guys them, okay? I want to explain. The way this is going to work is I'm pretty much just going to list it off, kind of like it's a top 10 list almost. I'm going to list it off and then I'm just going to talk about what it is, about that thing that you should know, if that makes any sense. So without further ado, let's get right into the list with number 6. The 6th thing, we're gonna start in like order so that you guys know. But from the first thing is, what does JDM even mean? What does JDM? I hear that all the time, Mark. What does it mean? Is it Jeffrey Dean Morgan, the famous actor from The Walking Dead who plays Negan? No, it's not Jeffrey Dean Morgan. My car has nothing to do with Jeffrey Dean Morgan. JDM stands for Japanese domestic market, and people talk about it all the time when talking about cars. However, it's for just about anything. If you have a house that's built in Japan, it's a JDM house. Like, people, yeah, we use it for cars the most, and it makes the most sense for cars. But again, it means it's for just about anything. And what it really means is, if you just break it down, it's pretty simple. It's any car that's built in Japan. Built to be sold in Japan, I should say. And people always get it confused. They think that it means that it's just a Japanese car in general. Like my Integra here is a JDM car when it's really not. They say my 350Zs. They say all these different kinds of things. I'm not going to be the one to say like, oh, you can't say that. You know, you can't call your car JDM because if it's not technically JDM. Because I do it all the time. I call my Integra JDM all the time just because it's easier and it's fun. It's just like how the European car guys, they call their cars foreigns, even though the car was built in like Utah. It's like there's nothing foreign about that, bro. But they call it foreign because it's just fun, and it's that's what they like doing. I do the same thing with my car and JDM, and so I'm not saying you don't have to. But if the car wasn't built for the Japanese domestic market, meaning it wasn't built to be sold in Japan and Japan only, then it's not JDM. If it's a left-hand drive car, it's not JDM. It's USDM or it's some other DM, you know, but it's not JDM. A lot of people also seem to think that if the car is very similar, like an Australian car that's very similar to the Japanese variant, oh well, you know, I bought it from Australian dealership, but it's pretty much exactly the same thing as a JDM car, so it's JDM. No, again, that's still not true. All that matters is if it was sold. It's literally not really even that cool of a thing, to be honest. All that really matters about it is what country it was built to be sold in. If it was built in America, but then immediately shipped over to Japan to be sold in Japan to a Japanese guy, then that car is a JDM car. Same thing as if a car was built in Japan and shipped overseas to be sold in America, then that car is a USDM car. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very simple once you get it down, but yeah, that's pretty much what it means. The next thing I want to talk about is the most popular JDM cars. Get you guys started. I'm going to go over this one really fast because there's tons of JDM cars and we can go on talking forever if I wanted to. But I'm just going to talk about the most popular ones, the ones that everybody loves, the ones that everybody knows. That way you have something to look up and start looking at and finding your next dream car. So the Mazda Miata, very small car, but a lot of people love them. Toyota Supra, obviously, I'm sure you've heard of that name before. Nissan GTR, same deal. I'm sure you heard that name before. Very popular car. Mitsubishi Evo or Lancer Evolution, a little bit more of on the unknown side, but still very, very popular. Along with the Subaru WRX STI, it's a Subaru Impreza. Yeah, don't let these guys fool you though. Everybody out there with their base model Imprezas are always acting like they have WRXs, but we know you don't, so don't let them fool you. They try their best. I'm not saying base model Imprezas are bad cars. I recommend them in a lot of my videos, but don't you try fooling me, buddy. I'm on to you like white on rice. You got that? But yeah, there's a couple more. Nissan Silvia, Mazda RX-7, Nissan Z cars, so the Nissan 350Z, 370Z, 300ZX. Those are a little bit more confusing just because their names change every generation, but still pretty much the same thing. What else is there? What else is there for Japanese domestic market? Honda Civics, very popular ones, obviously. Front wheel drive only though, so interesting. But yeah, I mean, there's tons of them, man. There's tons of Japanese cars, but those I would say are like the big ones, the big boys. I'm sure I'm missing one or two, and somebody in my comments is gonna be like, how could you forget about the Mitsubishi Starion, dude? Everybody loves the Mitsubishi Starion. It's like, no, man, not a lot of people do. There are very few people that even know that car exists, okay? So relax. I'm just giving them the big boys, that's it. Just the big names in the game. Anyway, next thing I want to talk about is why do people love them? This is a big one. A lot of people nowadays in the TikTok hemisphere are always like, oh my god, I don't even get why like people like Japanese cars. Like, I like the friggin' European cars. Like, come on. It's like, dude, listen, we like Japanese cars because they're fun. That's literally it. Most of the time when people like Japanese cars, it's just because they want to have fun with it. Like, you guys buy your European cars, and I like European cars. My next car is going to be a BMW. I love European cars. But when you buy your European cars, you buy that car most of the time to flex. You know, let's be honest here. Let's be honest. We're not trying to hide anything. Most of the time, you buy your high luxury bougie Audi or your high luxury bougie Mercedes or BMW so that you look fancy and you look nice and you drive around and you look like you're successful. Let's be honest. Like, you can lie to yourself and say that's not the reason. It's the reason. Some guys buy them, sure, for like if you're buying an E36, E46, that's a different story. You know, you're probably buying that because you want to have fun with that car. That one makes sense. If you're buying an older European car, makes sense. But if you're spending like freaking $70,000 on a down payment for a 10-year loan on a Mercedes C-Class, yeah, you're not buying that thing for fun. And you're not buying it for reliability, because if you were doing that, you would have just bought a freaking Civic. You're not buying it for practicality. If you were doing that, you would have just bought an SUV. You're not buying it for performance, because if you were doing that, you would have just bought a muscle car. They're incredibly fast in a straight line. So you're just buying it for bouginess. Japanese guys, on the other hand, when they buy their JDM cars, their main priority is how much fun is this car going to be. If they buy a Civic, they're most likely going to boost that thing. They're going to make it incredibly fast. If they buy out some sort of Honda, they're going to boost it. It's going to be a quick little car. If they buy something rear-wheel drive, like an S chassis or a 350Z or something like that, most likely they're going to be drifting that thing. They're going to be sliding it around corners every chance that they get. They're going to build their cars, though, and that's what's fun about them. It's like, you know how for American guys, do you know how in American car culture, a very popular thing to do is modify Jeeps? Jeeps get modified all the time. You can change almost everything on a Jeep. Well, think about that, but on literally every single Japanese car you could think of, and that's why people like them. You can change everything on a Japanese car, and it's all relatively cheap. You can make it completely your own, and it's all fun to do. Everything on a Japanese car is interchangeable, and they're very fun to build, and so people like doing that. It's a fun little project, I guess you can call it, and just people like it, that's all. But anyway, next thing, where did all the hype come from? Because I know if you're like me, then you remember back when we were young, wee little lads, everybody was talking about muscle cars. That was what was popular when we were kids. Every kid wanted a muscle car. But nowadays, every kid wants Japanese cars. Where did that come from? Where did that, switch happen? I think it's with the internet. And I don't think it's every kid that wants a Japanese car. I think it's just that finally the Japanese car guys have a space where they can talk about their cars and be accepted. Back in the early 2000s, if you drove any sort of Japanese car, you were immediately called a racer by the entire rest of the car community. They hated you. Nowadays, people are more accepting of it. And you go online and you have a Japanese car, and there are tons of other people that like them. And so the community's just growing and growing online. On top of that, a lot of Japanese car guys are younger people. And so we are...
It's on the internet most of the time, so you see the most, activity from younger people on the internet, meaning you're going to see a lot of activity about Japanese cars. It's not a bad thing whatsoever. It just shows that, things change with time. Muscle cars are still incredibly popular. People love Mustangs. The Hellcat is one of the most popular cars in the world. They still get the love that they deserve. It's just that nowadays, finally the Japanese car guys have an outlet to talk about their cars and form a community. When back in the day, they were kind of outcasted if they liked Japanese cars and were pushed to the side. It was hard to find a community like that. So nowadays, it's a lot easier. So you hear hear more about it online. On top of that, they do look incredible. Like even my dad, who's been a muscle car fan since the day he was born and the day he's gonna die, is a muscle car fan. Even he looks at Japanese. Like he liked my 350Z. He likes this car, my Integra. He likes Japanese cars too. He thinks they look really cool. And so it catches your eye, and that's all. But yeah. Anyway, next thing, number 5, is it? Yeah, number 5. Are JDM cars for you? Hey, are JDM cars something that you should consider buying next? It all depends. It totally depends. If you're buying, again, it depends on what you're buying the car for. If you want just a reliable, daily driver, practical, whatever car to get you from point A to point B on time, no, I don't think you should go buy an $8,000 S13 that has a wiring issue. I think it's a horrible idea. Just go buy that. Buy that Subaru Crosstrek. Buy that Subaru Crosstrek. Buy this Honda Accord. Buy this Toyota Corolla in front of me. Just buy one of these cars. Be like everybody else. They're doing it for a reason. They're incredibly reliable. It's a smart purchase. If you or somebody that wants to like flex on people and, you know, brag to people, see how much money I got and stuff like that. Again, I don't think so. I think a better idea for that is, again, a BMW, Mercedes, Audi, that type of idea, that type of vibe gives off a luxury sort of, well, vibe. And so people like that more than the Japanese car stuff. And so, yeah, go with one of those. And I'm not putting any shame on you if you are like that. You gotta be honest with yourself. If you are literally trying to buy a cool car just because you want attention, that's fine. That's fine. I personally don't understand it, but it's fine. You know, you can do it. It's up to you. Have fun. I hope you get all the attention you deserve. But, you know, I would not recommend getting a Japanese car for that. Because on top of that, a lot of times you see these cars online and you probably think to yourself, well, Japanese cars get a lot of attention right now because a lot of people like them. Yeah, but only the ones that are heavily modified. Like the ones that people put a ton of time and money into building, do they get like a lot of hype around. And until that point, a lot of people just look at you as kind of immature because you're buying an old Japanese, pretty unreliable at this point, car. That's not the best purchase, and they're overpriced right now. So people are, you know, they just look at you in a different way. If you want straight line performance, or if you just want performance in general, well, not performance in general, but if you want straight line performance, I would go with obviously a muscle car. They're just incredibly fast in straight line, big horsepower, good 0 to 60 times. That's a good option for you. Now, if you want some sort of project build type thing that you can have fun at the tracks, take to the twisties with your boys, and not have to worry too much about if it's going to break down. It's all going to be relatively cheap to fix. If you want that sort of lifestyle, like the track day lifestyle, I guess Fast and Furious lifestyle, but honestly, JDM cars are becoming more and more like a, not really Fast and Furious anymore. It's more like a Japanese toge style scene. Like people are liking that stuff instead of Fast and Furious now, more or less. They care more about like how a car handles rather than how a car goes in a straight line. And so if you like that kind of stuff, if you like the handling and the cutting in between corners and stuff like that, like if you like the Porsche 911 GT3 like if that's one of your favorite cars of all time, the chances are you'll probably like Japanese cars because they kind of fit the same bill. They have low horsepower, but they're really good at cornering. They're lightweight, and so they just grip and rip around, you know. And so yes, if you're in that ballpark, I think you should buy a Japanese sports car or a JDM car, whatever you want to call it. There's a cop here, so I can't check my phone for the next thing. Looks like a nice guy though. Now I'll check my phone. And finally, the last thing is I'm just gonna really quick go over how to find the right one. Every Japanese car is completely different, obviously, because every car is completely different. So you gotta do a little bit of your own research when you're looking to find a car. The way I did it when I bought my 350Z is I knew I wanted a 350Z and I wouldn't settle for less. I think that's a great mentality to have because it forces you to work really hard. Like right now, the next car I want is a pretty expensive BMW and it's gonna cost me a lot of money to buy it. So what I'm doing is I'm trying really hard with YouTube, trying to get more money so that I can afford this BMW and not have to worry about it. And I think that's a great way to do it. So find the one that you want. Don't obviously if you're like 18 years old, you just graduated high school, don't be like, well, I want the Mark IV Supra, I'm gonna get that. That's a little tough. So I would more so recommend getting the, like selling for something a little bit less expensive than that. But either way, oh my god. Uh-oh. Boys, I think my clutch is sticking. Well, hold on, give me a second. My car won't come out of gear. And the clutch is... Oh no, dude. Is it just 'cause it's so cold, or is it sticking? I don't know what's happening here, but every time I push down, it doesn't want to come back up. No, dude. Okay, I'm gonna finish this video really quick, because I gotta figure something out here. I don't know what's happening to my car. Maybe it's just something with the battery, I don't know. I really hope that didn't happen. Yeah, just, I don't know, man. I'm sorry, I can't really finish this video that much. I gotta figure something out here, so to find the right JDM car, just go out there, look around, study the market a little bit, find one that you think is good, ask people around you that know what they're doing, what to do. That was really freaking scary, too, because it didn't want to stop since the clutch was kicked in. Alright, well, that's really unfortunate, guys. That's really unfortunate. I really hope I don't have to replace the freaking clutch in this car. I don't have another car, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Okay, guys. Well, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna take off. Thank you guys so much for watching, I appreciate it. I hope you